right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Forgotten Variants. This is the video series that I do where I look at those, variant runs usually that just people aren't just talking about these days, as they're probably years old, and just not a lot of people hunting these particular books out because everybody wants the newest, the latest, and greatest. And I just like looking at some of the old stuff that I find interesting personally. So this is some of that old stuff, and I'm happy going through it and sharing it with you guys. And hopefully you guys see stuff that you like, and you can go hunt this stuff as well, just for fun, because yeah, that's what this whole game's all about, right? Hunting comic books for fun. Now, hopefully you like this content, and if you do, please let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything on the channel. Keep telling friends so we can keep growing this channel, to bigger and better things. And if you want to see what series of variants I'm talking about on this supersized edition here on the weekend, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back with the books. All right, so as I teased in the opening, we are doing another supersized edition. I think I got 21 books to go through this week, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I kind of enjoy doing this. When I initially thought of this series, it was just going to be like Chasing Ghosts or any of the other things that I do, where it was just going to be random books I kind of throw out there. But there are so many good runs of variants that I kind of want to go through a few of these before we get to that stuff. And I feel like on the weekend, now is the perfect time to do a little bit longer, a little bit extra, and give you those supersized editions. And that's what I got for you today. This Saturday, a supersized edition of Forgotten Variants. Because like I said, we got 21 books to go through. And this week, we are going to leave off Marvel for a little bit, head on over to DC, and let's look at those steampunk variants. Yes, I know, steampunk's not for everyone.
There are only three things in this world I hate: steampunk, pirates, and tabbouleh.
Some of this stuff is still really cool. And all of the books here are from February 2014, the 1 in 25 incentives for that month. And that's where this run of comics comes from. So I'm not going to give you that on each book. So you know, right here from the outset, they're all 1 in 25 incentives. They're all from the same month and year, February 2014. I think they had April dates on the covers, but you actually would have got these in stores in February. So that's what we're looking at here. This run of DC steampunk variants for the 1 in 25 incentives. We're going to start off at the top, alphabetically. Action Comics 28. So most of the titles are going to be issue 28 because, again, they did it for the same month, and most of New 52 started at the same time. A few series came along later in the run, but most of these are going to be issue 28. So just get used to it as we move on through this thing. So here we got, look at this, pretty cool mutton chops there on Soups. Looks a little bit like the Red Sun, like with the outfit, a little drab, almost like a communist Soups. But this is steampunk after all, which is why we get those, old-timey looking robots that he is fighting there. And even his outfit's a little bit, turn of the century kind of look to it. This is a Dave Johnson cover, and estimates would put this, again, we do the full print run, 1 in 25s. We do that basic math. These are estimated numbers. I'm just going to give you the estimates on the incentive. And for this one, it's about 1,400 copies. So about 1,400 copies of this Action number 28. But it's a pretty decent cover. I actually placed a bid on one of these because it was actually up for auction today, and it was really, really cheap. I think the auction actually ended, and it was only like $5 or $6. So I didn't put that in the materials here because it ended after I got this stuff already. But just keeping in mind that sometimes these things can go for cheap, which is why I like talking about this stuff outside of why they're forgotten. Like sometimes some of these books really are forgotten. If you want to see what's available right now, like I said, that other copy's kind of gone. There's one up for $50 for this. So if you want to buy it, $50 or best offer, you can get one. And if we want to look at what recently sold, but look it up for yourself, you'll see it. Under $6 for this thing. Which is why these things, again, like I said, are forgotten. Because who the heck is looking for a steampunk 1 in 25 Action Comics Superman from 2014 right now? It's just not what people are hunting. Everybody wants who's going to show up on the next movie, who's going to show up in the next, HBO Max, Disney Plus show. They're not looking at this stuff, which is why I'm looking at it. Next up, we're going to hit up Aquaman. Again, issue 28. This one is a Richard Horrell. I don't know if I'm saying his name properly. Cover just under 1,400 for this one. For this 1 in 25. I don't even really see the steampunk influence too much on this. I mean, I guess a little on the helmet. It kind of looks like that that old timey, kind of scuba diver kind of gear helmets, and I guess it's an old submarine in the back. I don't know, but I'm just not really. It's not coming through for me. The steampunk aspects of this personally, but if you are looking and you are curious to buy this one, the market. This is also a $50 book. Or best offer. Could be the same seller for all I know. But $50 is what's out there. And if you want to see what actually sold for this thing, well, this one I did have no sales that I could find recently. And I don't know, it could be because it's a tough book, but there are 1,400 copies, but that's not a ton, and that is an estimated number. So there could be significantly less for all I know. All I know is I'm just personally not hunting this one because I'm just not in love with that cover. It's just, I don't know. It's personal preference. Now, the next one, on the other hand, is one I do kind of dig, but I'm kind of priced out on it. And this is Batgirl. Batgirl number 28. I like the motorcycle there. I like the whole background, the elements that they have going there. I like the steampunk influence on this one. I also am a fan of the artist J.G. Jones. So this also being in that same kind of range, just under 1,400, doesn't scare me off of this book. However, if you look at what's available, price-wise, this is a $300 to $500 raw book for this 1 in 25. That's just a little bit more than I've got in my wallet for this book right now, personally. I'd love to buy it, but that's the asking price right now. It's a little out of my range. And if we want to look at what actually sold, you can see, well, it still sells pretty well as raw, $200. And then there was a 9.8 that sold for $450, which by comparison with the raw asks right now, seems like a decent price. Either way, that's the market for this book right now. So you can see this one is a little bit pricey, whereas Action Comics sold for under $6. This is $200 raw. But I like it. I like it. I like this this Batgirl. I'm looking at this DC stuff this week because I'm still kind of catching up on the Titan show, which I am thoroughly enjoying. So Titan season 3, I am liking, and I just got a few more episodes to watch to bring myself up to speed as it starts to wrap up that 3rd season. I'm going to move on to our next book, staying in the Bat universe with Batman. All right, it's not bad. Looks like he's flying in a bat plane. I don't know. I'm just not in love with this one either. I'm also not the biggest Howard Chaykin fan. Just, it's okay. It's just not really for me. It's not, he's not just an artist that really just strikes a chord with me. I mean, politics and all that kind of stuff aside, I just, the art itself is just, it is what it is. And there are over 4,500 copies of this one because, I mean, it is Batman. After all, Batman is probably one of the best-selling DC titles of the last couple of decades. So plenty of copies available for this one. But if you want to go shopping and you're curious about prices, well, there's a range. $20 to $125 are the asks. Granted, more of the listings are closer to that $20 range, but I wanted to give you the full gamut of what I found out there of the asking prices, and that's what's being asked for right now. And if you want to see what it actually sold for to get a better sense of the market, so again, you can take this information. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. You do what you want with your money. I'm just trying to give you a sense of what's out there and how much things have sold for recently, so you can make an informed decision. And the rest of this is just me telling you my opinions on these covers and all that stuff. But ultimately, it's up to you to do what you want with this information.
Knowledge is power.
But there have not been any sales these last 3 months, so I can't help you and tell you what the market is. All I can tell you is 20 to 125. You find where you're comfortable, and if this is the book for you, pick it up at a price that you feel comfortable buying. Me, I just, unless I was trying to get this whole run, which I'm not, I'm just not in love with this one. Like I said, not in love with the artist, and I just kind of bland cover. I don't get the armor there. I don't know. It's just not for me. Not for me. But this next book's not too bad. This is Batman Superman number 8. So again, not all of them are issue 28. Some of these titles started later. I kind of dig. You can see like the framework, I guess, on Batman's wings to make him, I suppose, fly. Superman also has a different look to his uniform, and I like Tommy Lee Edwards, and that's who did this cover. He has a unique style to him. This has over 2,300 copies. So again, it is not a low printed copy or a low printed book. Should be plenty out there. But right now, when I looked, $40, I found one listed. So if you want to buy it, it's $40. For 125, it's not an awful price. It is what it is. I mean, it's over ratio. It's under double ratio, but yeah, it is what it is. But that's from Mile High Comics too. So you make your own call. There's not a lot out there to choose from, but I'm sure there are more out there than you think. Recently sold. Well, one sold for under $14. Granted, it came from the UK where there's $20 shipping to the US. So you got to kind of factor that in. So it actually did sell for closer to that other book, the other ask, if the buyer was a US buyer. So you just got to factor in shipping sometimes. It does play into it, especially when you're talking about a book where the shipping is actually more than what the book cost. Just keep that in mind. But still, I kind of like this cover personally. It's definitely got a lot more going for it than I think than most of the ones we've shown so far outside of that J.G. Jones, which again, I dig. Moving on. Now, this says Batman and Two-Face, but this is the Batman and Robin title. And again, it's issue 28 that started. But as you can see on the cover, it's listed as Batman and Two-Face. But this is the Batman and Robin cover. This is a Matteo Scalera cover. A little over 1,700 copies on this one. I kind of like it. I mean, you don't see a ton of the steampunk apart from the background. If you just look at the Bats and Robin themselves, it just looks like they're wearing a little extra gear. But still kind of interesting. Definitely still kind of interesting. And if you want to see what's out there in the market right now, this one, $85 can buy you a 9.6 right now. So I think that's the only copy I could dig out on the eBays as I was searching when I was getting ready my materials. And if you want to see what actually sold for this, well, $15 bought 4 of these. Well, not actually, I have 4 of these. Well, yeah, no, I guess they all are 4. We bought that Batman that I wasn't in love with, that Aquaman I didn't really care for. This one, which is not too bad, and one we haven't gotten to yet, the Detective. All 4 for $15 plus $3 shipping. So that was a bargain out there. But that's the thing. Forgotten books, sometimes they are listed and sell for a lot less than you might think they will be.
See, nobody cares. Nice hat.
Something like this could sell for as low as $15 as part of a 4-pack. Then all of a sudden, another one gets listed for like $100 and somebody else buys it because that was the only copy listed at the time that they wanted to go and buy it. So they thought that's where the market was. It's a crazy market out there. Just keep that in mind. And again, why I'm trying to give these numbers out for you to give you some sense of where things are and where you should feel comfortable. Nobody likes feeling like they got taken and overpaid for a book like right away. Doesn't matter if a book appreciates to that value down the line. It's just that immediate reaction by the time it comes to them in the mail, like, man, I could have bought this for half the price if I had been patient. That's a horrible feeling to have. Up next, Batwoman. I kind of like this one too. Again, we get that kind of framework, wing work here. Makes sense. We're talking bats, steampunk of the era, that turn of the century kind of technology. This is a look that makes a lot of sense for this. I love the reds. It's a really cool looking book. Again, Batwoman 28. This is another Dave Johnson book, and this one is down at about 826 copies because not a lot of people were buying Batwoman at that time. So this is one of the lowest printed of this run. So keep that in mind as well when we start looking at what's available right now, because there are none. None. So if you wanted to buy it, I can't help you. There's none out there right now. And if you want to see what this thing sells for, well, a couple did sell. Oh, I'm sorry. I have this backwards. None sold. 2 listed. 9.8, $545. 9.6 for $400. So reverse that.
Reverse that. 6 task transport.
I got my slides backwards. But hopefully you don't mind. Keep on rolling. I'm not going to go and edit that because it's just not worth the effort. We're going to move on to Detective, which is, again, the 4th book that was part of that 4-pack that somebody got for $15. This Detective Comics number 28, again, with that wire work in the wings for Batman. I guess I should be tired of that look by now. This is like the 4th cover we've seen in the run. I liked it initially. Now I'm starting to get a little feeling a little overdone. We get it. Hang glider. All right, enough. T-Rex, giant penny in the background. That's kind of cool little throwback to the Batcave. But this Detective by Klaus Janson, who I know most people, or at least I know him as the inker for Frank Miller on that Daredevil run way back when. There's over 2,200 copies of this book. Because again, it was Batman. It's Detective Comics, but it's still Batman. Definitely one of the higher printed and selling books for DC at that time. What's available? Well, 20 to 40 bucks, basically, for this one. Makes a lot of sense. It's right in that range. It's a good cover, not a great cover. So if you're interested, 20 to 40 bucks, we'll get this one, and you can have it in your collection for this 1 in 25. And if you want to see what this actually sold for recently, well, the last one I think I found sold for way back in July was 30 bucks. So right in that range, the 20 to 40, right dead set in the middle, 30 bucks is what one sold for. Which is going to take us to Earth 2 as our next title. Yes, Earth 2. Kind of a cool cover. This is a Dan Panosian. I am a Dan Panosian fan. I dig his style. This cover in particular may not be so much for me, but it's not bad. It's just not really grabbing me. A little over 1,400 copies. So it's on the lower-ish end of what we've been looking at, but right on par with those early books. Not as high as the 4,500 Batmans and the 2,000 Batmans, but not down to that 826 Batwomans either, which is surprising. Because Earth 2 wasn't a title that I remember a lot of people talking up at the time. But you want to see what's in the market for this thing? Well, 90 bucks can get you a 9.8 from PGX if you are so inclined, or you can grab a raw for a little over 11 bucks. So not too expensive for this one. And if you want to see what actually sold, well, the sold price on one of these is about 10 bucks back in September. So not too bad. For 1 in 25, 10 bucks. That's a bit of a bargain. Less than half ratio. But it is what it is. Green Lantern, Flash, Batman, some sort of steam engined Batmobile, I guess, or carriage. I don't know what he's riding in there. We don't see the front of it. But interesting cover. Going to take us to our next one, The Flash. Now, apart from the just random gears that look like bottle caps flying by him, I wouldn't have guessed that this was a steampunk cover for The Flash, personally. Not my favorite, again. But, as I said, I'm just not a huge fan of Howard Chaykin. As an artist, it's kind of indifferent. It's not for me.
For me.
So, a little over 1,300 copies. If you're into it, it's all yours. I'm not going to fight you for it. You're not going to see me in a bidding war with you for it. So, you want to see what's available? Well, there are a couple copies. $53 to $85. Healthy prices for this. All yours, because I'm just not interested, personally. Personally, just not into this one. But it is what it is. I like The Flash, too. It's nothing to do with The Flash. It's just not in love with this cover. And if you want to see what actually sold for this, well, we don't have any in the last 3 months. So, those copies may have been sitting there for a while. I don't know. But I'm not going to be the buyer. Which is going to take us to Green Lantern Corps. Green Lantern Corps number 28. And we have yet another Chaykin cover. This time, it's nearing at 1,200 copies, but 1,161 is the count by the estimates. All right, they got the goggles on. They got the steampunk goggles, I guess. Outside of that, I don't know what the frilly collar was supposed to be a steampunky thing too. I don't know, I guess. I'm just not in love with it. Just not in love with it. And I like Green Lantern, but just not for me personally. What's available? $40 to $229 for a 9.8 if you were shopping. But raw for 40 bucks. $230 for a 9.8. Not for me though. And you want to see what actually sold. This is another case of none. Like I said, not a lot of these are moving. Not a lot of people are looking for this steampunk run from 2014. It's just not out there. Apart from a couple of covers, most of the run is just kind of, like I said, forgotten about, which is why we are covering it here. Moving on to another Green Lantern title. Moving on to another Green Lantern title, we have Green Lantern New Guardians. This is the Kyle Rayner run, I guess, where he was a White Lantern at the time. I'm not really getting the steampunk vibes out of this one either. It is what it is. I get tiny bits, but you'd have to tell me that that's what this was, to be honest. And this is a Klaus Janson. It's all right. Not in love with it. 1,100 copies or so. $80, $75. So 75, $80 seems to be the price for this if you're shopping in the market. And if you want to see what's sold, well, familiar story. None. All right. We won't keep you. Moving on. Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn number 3. I kind of like this. Something about it. I'm not so much reading steampunk as it does seem like some sort of cosplay dress up to another era, but I'm just not seeing steampunk immediately. But I do still kind of like it. You do get the Victorian kind of era feel out of her garb and get up with the boots, especially, and I guess the frill around the neck. But this is, again, Tommy Lee Edwards, who I do enjoy. Over 2,500 copies, so a healthy print run on this title and this incentive as well. But the market will show you that there are copies listed for about $100 raw, about $300 for 9.8. So not cheap, not crazy expensive, but definitely not cheap. And if you want to see what actually sold, well, we got a couple, but they're kind of a wide ranging. Both best offers on $40 and $150. So definitely a wide range there of what's actually selling for. I was able to pull the price on that $40 offer, and it actually sold for only $30. So 30 to a best offer on 150, which still probably has to be 100 plus, is our range here. So definitely a wide range of what actually sold over the last couple of months. And we're going to move on to Justice League. Justice League number 28. I like this. Yeah, you got Supes, you got the Trinity. Supes, Bats, Wonder Woman. You even get Cyborg in the background. A lot of gears, a lot of fun little aspects that kind of tie back into the steampunk kind of vibe. This is another Dan Panosian. A lot of the same artists did multiple covers on these. Healthy run, over 3,200 copies. So definitely one of the heavier printed ones. And a PGX 9.8 is out there for $175 if you're interested. I mean, PGX aside, not a lot of copies to be had, even though there are a lot of copies out there. But there's just that one. And if you want to see what actually sold, none. We're back at none. So I'm going to move on to Justice League Dark for our next one. Justice League Dark. I like this one. I like the Zatanna, Dead Man's got the little glass dome on his head for some reason. It's definitely pretty cool. This Justice League Dark is another Tommy Lee Edwards. So you can see I'm kind of biased, I guess, to certain artists. I just dig their covers a little bit more than the others. And this is a little over 1,200 copies for this one. If you're interested out there shopping, the price on this will run you about $100. So it's not cheap. Definitely not cheap. It's about the same price as that Harley. And if you want to see what's sold on this guy, well, $75 raw. It sold back in August. So definitely not a cheap one, but it is on the lower printed side. So even though I compared the price to the Harley, there's half as many copies potentially as the Harley. So got to factor that in as well. But I kind of like it. I don't know. Something about it. I'm getting like a Hellfire Club kind of vibe out of this one. And we're going to move on to Justice League of America with our next book. And this is, I believe, another Matteo Scalera. A little over 2,200 copies on this guy. Issue 12. Again, not all of them started at the same time. What's available in this Justice League of America? Well, we can have a book for 10 to 15 bucks, basically. 10 to 14 bucks even. It's kind of cool cover, though. I like the Stargirl and the Martian Manhunter. The Zeppelins kind of give you that kind of throwback vibe, definitely. And again, goggles. Apparently, that's all you need to be steampunk is just a huge set of goggles. A couple of gears. Done. But what actually sold on this thing? Well, even though it's 10 to 15 bucks are the asks, one sold a best offer only on $8. So something under $8 somebody paid. Not too bad for 1 in 25, honestly. And next up is Nightwing. I kind of like this Plague Mask kind of vibe. You got that old school look to this Nightwing, and you see again Zeppelin, goggles, Plague Mask. Seems like he has these weird birdcage. I don't know how he strains his knees out while wearing those knee pads, but they're there. Somehow he does. This is Tommy Lee Edwards again. So one of my preferred artists in this group of artists. So it's another one of the covers that I prefer. The coloring on this one is pretty cool. Just under 1,500 copies on this. If you want to see what's out there to buy, if you were shopping, Well, this is 40 to 50 bucks raw. Solid price. Solid price. Definitely not super expensive. Not cheap. Definitely a healthy number, though. And if you want to see what actually sold, well, best offer on $33. So seems to be right in that ratio type of range for this as far as what actually sold. Which is going to take us to Superman next. Superman, number 28. I kind of like this. I mean, he's got those Sebastian Shaw chops going there on the side, but I like the jacket. I like the jacket and the boots with kind of spats kind of things going. But like I said, they don't give him the goggles, but they threw in the gears. So we know it's steampunk because look, there's gears. This is Jeff Wemester? Don't know if I'm saying the name right. I do my best with the name pronunciation, but under 1,400 copies on this one. So definitely not a highly printed one, this Superman book. You want to see what's out in the market. There are none. So none out in the market if you were shopping for this one. And like I said, I kind of like it a little bit. I like the gray background. I know it's not colorful, but it helps Superman kind of pop when you have that monochrome kind of look to the background. But that kind of fits the steampunk aesthetic and the timeline a little bit. Makes you think of that Victorian age when you just see gray skies. You want to see what's sold? Well, just a few days ago, 25 bucks. So right at ratio, this sold just this week on eBay. Which is going to take us to our next one, Superman and Wonder Woman. I like this. I like the little hat they gave her. We will probably see that hat again in another look. Superman's got that nice hefty buckle, hefty jacket, holding all of her things. A lot of rivets. You get the kind of vibe going there, but I like this one. This is Superman and Wonder Woman number 5. This is a Dan Panosian. Just under 1,800 copies. Like I said, I'm favoring a couple of artists over others when we go through this list. Again, personal preference. You might love the other artists in this. You might be like, nah, man, Mateo Scalera is the way to go on these covers. Well, it's up to you. Maybe you are a big Howard Chaykin fan. That's good. I have no judgment here. It's just not for me, some of them. But if you want to see what's available, well, $350 for a raw, $700 for a 9/8. So this one is not cheap. Not cheap. And if you want to see what's sold, well, you can probably guess. At those prices, we got none in the last 3 months. Hefty prices, but I like it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little preferential towards Wonder Woman, but I like it. Which will take us to our next book, Teen Titans. Yep, Superboy, Robin. I'm assuming that's Wonder Girl. I like it. I like the filigree around the outside of the border. It's kind of cool. Again, Teen Titans number 28. This is a Jason Pearson cover. His first entry into this list. And just over 1,000 copies on this one. So one of the lower printed ones, Jason Pearson. We're getting a new blood, new artist in on this pile. And what's available? Well, 175 bucks for a 9/8. It's not terrible. But is the market reflecting that? What's sold? Well, again, nothing's sold. Telling you, that's why I consider these forgotten. Nobody's buying them. Are the prices too high? Are the prices too low? Does just nobody care? Does nobody like steampunk? I don't know. It's up to you. And that'll take us to our final entry into this list. Favorite artist in the bunch, probably the favorite character. We see the hat again. I tease the hat, even though this hat's a little bit bigger. This Uncle Sam with the goggles. Wonder Woman, number 28. I'm sure you've seen this before. I believe I've talked about this cover before because I like it a lot. J.G. Jones knocked that out of the park with this one. I know you might be reading Old West, but this is steampunk. 1,258 estimated copies, so definitely not a ton out there. This is probably would be, if I could have one, this would be the one I would probably pick above all others. Then maybe the Wonder Woman Superman after that. I mean, price notwithstanding, just cover art alone, this is the one I'd probably pick. Oh, and Batgirl. I forgot about the Batgirl, but for JG, I think this one is one up over the Batgirl for him. And you want to see what's out there, what's available, well, $1,200 for a 9/4 is what we're talking about here for this. So definitely not cheap. Definitely not cheap. And if you want to see what's sold, well, these are the 3 that sold over the last 3 months. all graded. A 9.2 for $800, and then 2 9.4s, one for $7, one for $930. So you can see this is not a cheap book at all. And in many cases, they're graded. So if you can find yourself a raw, consider yourself lucky, because most of the raws are probably gone. They're probably already slabbed. So unless you crack a case, you're probably not getting a raw on this one. But I dig it. I dig it. Definitely probably my favorite of the bunch. But hopefully you enjoyed that. And hopefully you're enjoying this series of looking at these forgotten variants. So thanks for stopping by and checking in to see this stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you into this? Do you not care about going through entire runs? Do you just want me to pick up highlights? And I could have only covered maybe 2 or 3 of the covers in this entire run. But I don't know. I just felt like we should just do the whole thing. I mean, why not? It's the weekend. We got extra time, right? So that being said, I hope you enjoyed the supersized Saturday edition for Forgotten Variants. And hopefully you're liking the channel. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Keep telling friends. Let's keep that subscriber count going up. And yeah, I will see you guys very soon with some more content.